Okay, we'll get started with Arnie Stapleton with the Associated Press. Arnie, go ahead, please.
Hey, John, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
I'm wondering what are the challenges of this unique training camp for you? And specifically, I know you've got a good track record over the years of finding the undrafted college free agent through the rookie mini camp or rookie tryout. Now that you have a smaller roster right out of the gate and you didn't get that opportunity in the spring, how do you go about evaluating sort of that bottom half of the roster and maybe finding those gems?
Well, it makes it a lot more difficult, especially with no preseason games also. So, I mean, we're going to have to see everything we can in the 14 practices, padded practices that we're going to have before the opener. But I mean, what it does, it really creates less of an opportunity for those guys to make our football team. So, we're going to have fine guys with the expanded practice squad, which we got spots for 4 veterans there. So we're going to have to find the right guys to be able to expand the practice squad with. But, it definitely hurts the opportunities, of those CFAs to get out there and really, to show us what they have, and even more so without any preseason games.
And does that same challenge fit, like for the veterans, maybe a position battle at left tackle or at cornerback? Is it the same challenge for you?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I think that a lot of times you go into the regular season and you have 4 or 5 spots that are really kind of up in the air, and so. But when it comes down to position battles, we're going to have to get a feel for that in practice and kind of do it on the run. So again, with the lack of time and the lack of preseason games, it makes the evaluation of all players much tougher.
Next, we've got Mike Kliss, followed by Ryan O'Halloran. Mike, go ahead, please.
Yeah, John, just wondering, if you've been able to wrap your arms around this coronavirus the last 3 or 4 months. Personally, I saw you shaking Jerry Judy's hand the other day with your mask on. How different is it, the new football world?
It's different. I think that everybody realizes it in everybody's daily life, how much different it is. And so, I think the ultimate thing that we have to do, though, is deal with it and accept it and accept that's the way it's going to be. And as a football team, understand that times are different. And we're going to live by different rules, and how we go about our daily business is going to totally change. And I think how we handle that as an organization and as a football team is going to determine a lot of ways how much success we're going to have, because we need guys to stay healthy. And this is not something that's going to go away in 2 weeks or a month. Obviously we've got to approach this as an organization and a football team that we're going to have to follow these protocols for 6 months. 7 months until we figure out a vaccine, and but also realize, really as players and even as coaches, that when they're away from this building, that they have to be very careful with the amount of people that they're around, who they're around, so they don't get exposed and miss time, and also bring it into the building. So it's going to be, these players more than ever have to be more dedicated to the cause of what we're trying to do, and that's win football games.
Next, we've got Ryan O'Halloran, followed by Jeff Legwold. Ryan with the Denver Post. Go ahead, please.
Hey, John, Kyle Pecco opted out this morning. Did he give you any kind of insight for that decision? And also, do you expect any other players to opt out before Saturday?
He had one of those other preconditions that they have listed, and I don't know what that whole list is. And I don't know if it's high blood pressure or if it was asthma or something, but stated that that was the reason why he was opting out, because of he was more susceptible and so more dangerous for him. So I understood that. Have not heard of anybody else so far. There's been some rumblings about a couple guys, but we've not heard anything else yet.
Next, we've got Jeff Legwold, followed by Troy Rank. Jeff, ESPN, go ahead, please.
John, I'm just curious if have you done all the work about what you guys are going to do for potential road trips and things like that? Do you have the plan in place for that?
Jeff, we've been really working on it. That would be something that we continue to work on, but we've really been working on getting ready for training camp, the road games and all those type of things, protocols, what we're doing there. There is a basic formation of that, but we have not dug in totally into that just yet. We've been more worried about with the agreement coming a couple days ago, between the owners and the Players Association that we've really been working on getting the protocol for training camp, how we're going to do training camp, scheduling for training camp, and so forth. And so we'll eventually get into the travel part of it.
Do you, just as a personnel executive, when you read stories like the Florida Marlins, how nervous does that make you?
Well, again, it's like I said earlier, it's going to come that we've got to have a commitment when, and these players have to have a commitment when they're away from the building. And that's what, it's going to come down to, and how safe they are. And really, as I said, it's even, it's always been a huge commitment, but a lot of times players have been able to get away from the game and get away from the building. But that has changed because of this virus. And so we're going to have to be, more careful with it. And so does it worry me? Sure, it worries me. But hopefully, as long as we continue to talk about it, we get the commitment from our organization and our players and our coaches, then, hopefully we can avoid any catastrophe.
Next, we've got Troy Rank, Denver 7, followed by Andrew Mason. Troy, go ahead, please.
We'll go on the football side, John. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. When you look at Drew Lock and all the, the expectations for him, do you have to temper those slightly because of this upside-down offseason, or because of what he was able to kind of do with players away from the campus? Do you still carry those expectations? I guess what is fair for Drew with new weapons and a new coordinator in his first full year as a starter?
Well, I think that we have to, they're definitely tempered. I don't think that we can expect with no off season for us to come out and be hitting on all cylinders. I know that we've spent a lot of time in Zoom meetings, and Pat and his staff on the offensive side have spent a lot of time with it, but there's nothing like being on the practice field. And so it's going to be a slow build, and the expectations of Drew, he did play well for 5 games, but that was only 5 games last year. Didn't have the off season this year, which, for young football players is always very, very important. But I know that he did spend a lot of time throwing to the receivers and getting the timing, doing what they could do away from the facility. So, we're very, very young on the offensive side. I think with the way training camp's set up, I always remember as a rookie, it was important for me to see other helmets, not just Bronco helmets, but to see other helmets, to get used to, realize that, hey, they are now in the NFL. And I think, with our young team, that doesn't help us. I was hoping for a couple preseason games just because we're so young on the offensive side for them to get to see somebody else. So, but that's, we're going to have to deal with it. That's, today's world is adjusting, and so we'll adjust to that. And I know that they're mature kids, and they'll come in and do everything they can to get up to speed. But again, they're going to be young guys without an off-season program. So we definitely have to, give them some rope and temper it a little bit, and then take it one practice at a time.
Next, we've got Andrew Mason, DNVR, followed by James Palmer. Andrew, go ahead, please.
Hey, John, in your day-to-day work as general manager, what are some of the things that have been changed the most profoundly because you're existing in this pandemic?
Well, obviously no off-season. So with no off-season, we haven't been able to see the young guys, especially the college free agents that we signed, the draft picks, seeing out them, that they're out there running around. So we've missed that. The evaluation process is way behind. And again, it's going to be much more difficult with the way things are set up going forward. So, that's been the thing that's changed the most. I think the other thing that has been, very important that I've tried to express is that, it is what it is. And whoever handles this the best that they can, will probably have the most success. So we can't sit here and bitch about it. We got to realize it's part of it, and we got to deal with it. And deal with the best we can, and stay our nose to the grindstone, because this is not going to be over in a month. It's going to take us 6 months. And so as long as we realize the length of this and how long this commitment's going to be, then we got a chance to be successful.
Next, we've got James Palmer, NFL Network, followed by Mark Kisla. James, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Seth. John, thanks for doing this. Curious, with the youth that you talked about on your offensive side of the ball and the way this offseason has gone, is there any traits that Drew possesses, even though he's young, that could help him because of the circumstances he's dealing with?
Well, I think that what we saw last year and the maturity that he saw when he went in and did play, and the success that he did have late in the year, I think he'll take that same mentality into this year with with a better idea of what's going on. Obviously, again, we didn't talk about this, but we have a new system going on. So going in with Pat coming in as the offensive coordinator. So trying to blend the offenses the best he can and the terminology that the best that he can. But, it's still going to be a new offense and a new feel. So, but I think with what we saw in Drew, the maturity that he showed when he was in there last year, that he really, wasn't affected by the size of the game. And I think that's what you never know about a young quarterback, how he's going to handle that. And I thought, of anything, Drew handled that as well as we could have expected.
Next, we've got Mark Kisla, Denver Post, followed by Les Shapiro. Mark, go ahead, please.
John, you're as competitive as anybody who's ever been in the NFL. And we all know this is a bottom line business, but you say it's a slow build and a 6-month process. So in September, with a young team, how do you measure success? Is it still just wins and losses, or is it growth of this team and being a better team in December rather than September?
Well, again, the bottom line is we got to win. I think that's ultimately the bottom line. And you guys are always so generous and say, it is time to build. And so we'll give them time.
You got it, man.
Right? I mean, I know you guys will be right there giving us time. But the idea is, no, we realize we got to try to figure out how to win football games, Mark. And I think, I think if you look on the defensive side, for the most part, with the players the veterans that we've added to the defensive side, and I think with the veterans that have been here with another year of Vic's, understanding Vic's defense, what it's about, obviously we're going to have to lean on the defense, and hopefully we can come out, because we do have a veterans on the defensive side that we can, rely on them as we grow as an offense. And so, that's the hope. I'd love to see us come out and score, 40 points against Tennessee on Monday night. But that, I'm not saying that can happen, but obviously with the youth that we do have, it's going to take some time, and hopefully we can play better defense with the veterans we have coming in and give us a chance. But ultimately, Mark, it is to win football games.
Next, we've got Les Shapiro, and then we'll have 2 more after that. Les, your line's unmuted. Go ahead, please.
All right. Thanks, Seth. Hey, John. Look, I want to follow up on one of the COVID questions, and I know we're all living day by day, and it's hard to predict anything, even tomorrow. But to follow up on, I think it was Jeff Legwold's question, how confident are you, after seeing what's going on in baseball right now, and seeing players all over the NFL starting to opt out, how confident are you that not only will this season start, but that it'll get played through?
Les, I've tried not to even look that far into the future. I've tried just to kind of keep it day to day. I'm thrilled we are where we are right now and get a chance to see our guys eventually on the football field. So, it's a slow process with everybody coming in and how camp has started. So I am, Les, believe me, I don't look that far ahead. I'm glad that we can get where we are right now, and I hope that, the news that comes in day to day remains positive. And we can continue to move forward with this. And so I don't have a prediction. I'm very hopeful that we can play. I think the players want to play, and I think the fans, whether it's at home, want to watch football. So we're hopeful that we can figure out the best way to attack this, and that allows us to go out and play football.
Last 2, we'll have Brandon Cristal, KOA, followed by Ryan O'Halloran. Brandon, your line's unmuted.
Hey, John, I'm not sure if you saw, but Patrick Mahomes now owns a little bit of the Royals. You're a little jealous of that. And then what do you think of his contract when you saw the numbers come down in the structure and everything?
Well, first of all, I hope they hire him in the front office. He can spend half his time over with the Royals. That's fine with me, too. He'll spend all his time over there. But, obviously with his contract, he's the best football player in the league. And I think it's a well-deserved contract. The way he's played this first 3 years or 2 years as a starter and what he's done, I think that, he's a guy that represents the league very, very well and a tremendous player. So I'm happy with the fact that, he got that contract. And, as an opponent and an AFC West opponent, I wish he'd have got more. I think they underpaid him.
Last one, Ryan O'Halloran.
Hey, John, 2 parts. First one, how close did you and Justin Simmons' camp get to a long-term deal before the deadline? And you mentioned the additions on defense. What do you think AJ and Jarrell can bring to this team?
Well, we worked with Justin. I think that there was some concerns on our side as far as what was going to go on, where the cap was going to be, and have discussions with Joe as far as how far we wanted to go, how much guaranteed money we wanted to get to. That was a concern with all the unknowns that we had. That plus our numbers were far apart too. So just didn't feel like we were going to get there, and so we didn't get there. And I think that hopefully. Justin, what we think of Justin, that we can get something done next year in the off season, because we'd like to make him a Bronco for a long time, because he's the type of person we want, as I said before this league or year started. So we're unfortunate that it didn't work out. Jarrell brings a heck of a lot of experience. We think that he can rush the pass. We think he's still got a lot left, and think that he can really come in and provide a lot of leadership and pass rush inside. So I'm excited to watch Jarrell play, as well as Bouye. That at corner, to solidify the corner position for us and watch him play. I think he'll come in and really be able to help us.
All right, thanks, John.
All right.
Thank you, John.